She almost canceled the date 3 different times. It was never supposed to be serious anyway. Her friend had signed her up on a dating app as a joke after months of hearing her say she was done with love forever. She finally agreed to meet the man for 1 cup of coffee, planning to leave after 15 minutes. But life has a strange way of changing everything when kindness shows up at the right moment. Before the evening was over, her little toddler looked at a complete stranger, smiled with innocent eyes, and whispered one word that left them both frozen. If you've ever believed that one act of kindness can change an entire life, you're in the right place. Welcome to Kindness Hub. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear about a moment when someone's kindness changed your life. Emily was 29 years old and lived in a quiet neighborhood outside Denver, Colorado. She worked long shifts as a nurse, raised her 2-year-old daughter Lily alone, and rarely had time to think about herself. 3 years earlier, Lily's father had walked away before she was born. He disappeared without leaving an address, a phone number, or even a goodbye. Emily stopped believing promises after that. She learned to depend only on herself. Most evenings were the same. She would pick Lily up from daycare, stop by the grocery store, make dinner, read bedtime stories, and fall asleep on the couch before midnight. Dating wasn't part of her life anymore. One Friday afternoon, her best friend Sarah smiled and said, "Please. Just one date. If it's terrible, I'll never ask again." Emily laughed. "Fine. 1 coffee. That's all." The man she was meeting was named Daniel. When Saturday arrived, Emily almost canceled. Then her babysitter called with bad news. "I'm so sorry," the babysitter said. "My son is sick. I can't come." Emily sighed. She was about to text Daniel when his reply arrived first. "No worries if you need to cancel." She hesitated before typing. "I actually have my daughter with me now." A minute later another message appeared. "Bring her if you're comfortable. We can meet at the park instead of a coffee shop." Emily stared at the screen. No complaints. No awkward questions. Just understanding. She decided to go. Daniel was already waiting when they arrived. He wasn't dressed to impress. Just jeans, sneakers, and a baseball cap. He stood up with a warm smile but didn't reach out to hug Emily or shake Lily's hand. Instead, he knelt down to Lily's eye level. "Hi," he said softly. "I brought bubbles. Is that okay?" Lily nodded with excitement. Within minutes the little girl was laughing as bubbles floated through the afternoon sunlight. Emily watched quietly. Most men tried too hard around children. Daniel simply let Lily be herself. After they walked through the park, they bought sandwiches from a nearby food truck. As they sat down, they noticed an elderly man struggling to carry several grocery bags across the parking lot. Without saying a word, Daniel stood up. "I'll be right back." He carried every bag to the man's apartment building 2 blocks away. When he returned, Emily smiled. "You didn't have to do that." "I know," Daniel answered. "But he did." That simple sentence stayed with her. Over the next hour they talked about work, family, dreams, and disappointment. Daniel admitted he had once been engaged. His fiancée had died in a car accident 5 years earlier. "I spent a long time angry," he confessed. "Then I realized life is too short not to be kind." Emily didn't know what to say. No one had spoken so honestly to her in years. As the sun began to set, Lily grew sleepy. Daniel picked up the diaper bag without asking and carried it toward Emily's car. She noticed little things. He opened doors. He thanked the cashier by name. He smiled at strangers. Not because anyone was watching. Because that was simply who he was. Emily felt something she hadn't felt in years. Peace. Just as she buckled Lily into her car seat, the little girl stretched out her tiny arms toward Daniel. He leaned closer, thinking she wanted a goodbye hug. Instead, Lily gently touched his face. Then she smiled. "Daddy." Everything became silent. Emily's heart nearly stopped. "I'm so sorry," she whispered quickly. "She doesn't understand." Daniel looked at Lily for a long moment. His eyes filled with tears. He smiled gently. "I'm not her daddy," he said softly. "But thank you for trusting me." There was no awkward laugh. No joke. No uncomfortable expression. Only kindness. On the drive home, Emily couldn't stop thinking about that moment. Children often sense things adults overlooked. She wasn't saying Daniel was perfect. But Lily had felt safe. That mattered. A week later, Daniel invited them to the zoo. The next weekend they visited a pumpkin patch. Sometimes they baked cookies together. Sometimes they simply walked around the neighborhood. Daniel never rushed Emily. He never tried to replace anyone. He simply showed up. Again and again. When Emily worked late, he dropped off homemade soup. When Lily caught the flu, he left medicine and groceries on the porch without expecting to come inside. When Emily's car broke down during a snowstorm, Daniel drove 40 miles after work just to make sure they got home safely. His kindness wasn't loud. It was steady. Months passed. One evening, Lily scraped her knee while playing. She started crying. Daniel gently cleaned the cut, placed a colorful bandage on it, and told her she was the bravest little girl he knew. She wrapped her tiny arms around his neck. "I love you." Daniel hugged her carefully. "I love you too, kiddo." Emily watched from the kitchen doorway with tears in her eyes. Not because someone had rescued her, but because someone had chosen to love them without asking for anything in return. The following spring, Daniel invited Emily and Lily to the same park where they first met. He wasn't carrying flowers. He wasn't holding an expensive ring box. Instead, he carried a small photo album. Inside were pictures from every moment they had shared. The bubbles. The zoo. The pumpkin patch. Cookie-covered smiles. Snowy afternoons. Hospital visits after long shifts. Birthday candles. Every page told the same story. Kindness. At the very end was one empty page. Daniel looked at Emily. "I don't know what tomorrow looks like," he said. "But if you'll let me, I'd like to keep filling these pages with both of you." Emily couldn't hold back her tears. "Yes," she whispered. Lily clapped her hands. "I knew it." A year later, Daniel officially adopted Lily. When the judge finalized the adoption, she ran into his arms and shouted the same words she had spoken on that first date. "Daddy." This time everyone smiled through happy tears. Sometimes people believe love begins with grand romantic gestures. But often it starts with something much smaller. A patient conversation. A helping hand. A quiet sacrifice. A heart willing to care without expecting anything back. Kindness has a way of opening doors that force never can. It builds trust where fear once lived and creates families where loneliness once existed. You never know how deeply one gentle act might touch another person's life. So today, choose kindness even when no one is watching. Offer grace, lend a hand, speak with compassion, and love generously. Because the smallest act of kindness may become the beginning of someone else's happiest ending.